Hello, hello. My name is Sharp Eyes,
And I am Crucifix.
and joining us today is.
Charles Chi, right?
Well, actually, Charles isn't here
Oh,
right
well,
now,
that's what
but
it says on Skype.
joining us will be Chris Chi,
Chris
Charles'
Chi.
little brother.
Okay, well, some guys call him Charles, including me. So,
All right. So, without further ado, let's get things started. Crucifix, what are we doing today?
well, today we're going to do a coaching session with Chris here, and unfortunately, he's not going to be able to chime in, but he is here with us, and we're going to watch the replay. We're doing the half-hour power hour as we started last time, and we're going to just get into some pretty deep, detailed analysis here.
Very deep indeed. As you may know, this is WeCast, where we cast your games, except this isn't one of your games. It's one of our own, Heartland Hitman's very own Zell.
Zell. And while the analysis will be deep, it will also be intense. So you can look forward to that.
Very intense
And deep indeed.
indeed. All right, let's get started.
Game resumed.
Okay.
So,
So Zell. Oh, sorry. Go
yes.
ahead.
So seeing as we only have half an hour, let's go ahead and times for it until we see some analysis here.
Sounds good. Now Zell is in the upper right-hand corner playing Protoss. He is the red Protoss, and he's looking like building a couple pylons. Gonna go for an early gas. Get that gas pumping. Now just looking like here, can you slow it down just a little bit? My computer's going crazy. There we go. And it is looking like Zell has forgotten to put any probes on his gas for the entire since it built. So that's gonna really hurt when he tries to build whatever it was he wanted the gas for in the first place. It's looking like he's finally going to transfer some, or at least one. But yeah, in the future, if you're going to build an early gas, make sure you remember to put probes over there because otherwise, there's no reason to even build it. You can just build it later and have more money for your forge and your gateway before that. Now, crucifix. Yes, crucifix. Sharp eyes. Um, what kind of build is the Zerg doing? Just so we can keep it in context.
The Zerg is actually doing a pull first into hatch with a Roach Warren slammed in there, so I think he's kind of scared here, and he's gonna prepare
Ah.
some roaches.
And we do have a nice wall going. I like your wall, by the way. You have the zealot there to keep him occupied. Now, some people sometimes they forget to put that zealot on hold position, and that can actually lose you a game, especially if
Game
like a ton of
paused.
zerglings were to try to get through, and he wasn't on hold position, then he would not do his job at all.
Alright, so I'm pausing the game to note that this is actually a very odd build because it looks like a Forge Fast Expand without the expansion.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say that too.
And
Yeah.
with all these cannons, I mean, like, I think that this build would be way better off if it was actually put right here and then the expansion was secured. I think that
Mm-hmm.
these cannons are kind of a waste of mineral as they're trying to protect something that is already protected.
Right. Yeah, I mean you're gonna have most
Game
I
resumed.
mean you would have your unit in a one base scenario. You would always have your unit in your main base, so you don't need the cannons when you're doing it in your main base. Now, in a two base scenario, the reason you have the cannons and the wall because it's harder to protect two bases. Um, but in this case, you have three cannons here, and this could have been protected just by units. And also, your minerals are pretty high at this point, so it would be a good idea to try and build. If you are going to do this build, go ahead and try and build your gateways a little sooner, so that because having 900 minerals on a one base with only 15 workers means that your production is severely lacking. Yeah, so what I would recommend is if is switch to the Forge Fast Expand. Sharp Eyes, can you hear me just to make sure?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you paused it or if I froze. Like, I never know. Um, but yeah, in the future, make sure you switch to the Forge Fast Expand. Build your three gateways much sooner. Like, make sure you have three gateways up and running shortly after your expansion gets going. Um, because that'll let you spend those minerals much faster. Make sure you chrono boost out your probes and your warp gate research because both of those things are really important. Let's go ahead and watch this battle real quick. Nice force fields. You might want to like in the future, like those force fields they actually kind of blocked a couple of your units too, like from firing. So instead of making that triangle formation, I know it's kind of like I know force fields are like kind of hard to get perfect, but try doing it. Try like slicing his army in half with those force fields, because that'll allow you to attack half the army. It'll keep the others from attacking, and that was a really good spot for it too, because you even could have made a wall, and so they couldn't even get around them. So yeah, like in the future with those force fields, try like slicing the army in half with them.
Yeah, it's actually really important to slice the army in half because you're pretty much using 100% of your forces versus about 50% of their forces.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's always the goal you want for that for those force fields. If unless they're purely defensive, and in that case, you'd want it, just blocking off their whole army.
So right here, I really like the fact that you have a bunch of warp gates up and running, but I noticed that you built them pretty late, and that's probably because you were running off of one base for a while, or you kind of let your macro slip up a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
so you were floating a lot of minerals. But I think that if you opened up with either a gateway expand or a forge fast expand,
Mm-hmm.
you could definitely get these 7 gateways up and running a lot quicker, like Crucifix said.
Yeah, those need to be like your biggest priority because yeah, I can already tell like just from watching this much of the game that you could have so many more units right now than you do because of how many minerals you have and gas. Like it's hard to spend all your minerals, but if you find yourself in a position where you look up at your minerals and you have 1,000, you can expand and um, you can expand or slash and make more like all just keep making gateways until you're producing off of all of them and you're out of minerals. So now it's looking like you finally were able to spend the majority of your minerals, which is good. But see how you're almost out of minerals to be mined at your main. Um, this would have been a perfect time, and it is looking like you did an expansion. But when your minerals are running out at your main, is actually when you want to be taking your fourth. So make sure you take that third a little sooner.
Yeah, oh yeah, and also don't ever stop making probes
Right.
because probes are very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, like the main issue that like not only did you have a little bit of trouble, um, yeah, and if like your army's almost dead, like don't pull your. Oh, I liked that. Wait, what was that? Oh, yeah, if your army's don't almost dead, don't pull your Colossus in because it'll just die. Like a Colossus by itself is like a dead Colossus. So like keep it at your base to defend if like your main army's almost dead. But so like the main problem is he had three bases like when you were getting your second base. So he hasn't been spending his minerals amazingly, but. He hasn't been spending his minerals amazingly, but he's had access to many more minerals than you have almost the entire game.
Actually, I think the
Oh wait,
drone
I was
count
looking at the wrong. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
the drone count might tell a completely different story. It actually looks like there's only 44 drones working for the
Oh, for
Zerg
the Zerg.
and
Oh, okay.
56 probes for the Protoss. So I think that the Protoss did have more minerals to use on units, but something
Well,
happened.
it's just like I know that the Zerg did have a third base like much earlier, and I think if we reround the game to like mid game, I think the Zerg would have had 44 probes. Like I think he's probably had that many for a long time. Is all I'm saying. Like I think earlier in the game the Zerg had a better economy, but now I think Zell does. But in any case, the main difference between the two is that the Zerg has been spending all of his minerals, and the Protoss hasn't.
Yeah, the almost 2,000 minerals could have been spent on more
Hmm.
units.
I mean, yeah, just think of how many units 2,000 minerals could buy. Like that's like that's like I mean 20 stalkers alone. You know, like um,
Game paused.
2,000 minerals is a ton, and if you're able to spend your minerals, you'll find yourself ahead in most games up until probably the platinum level.
Yeah, this entire Zerg force right here is around 2,000 minerals.
Right. So this could, I mean, think about 20 stalkers versus these hydras instead of the six. Like you would have been able to roll this army over instead of getting killed by it.
And there's the GG.
Um, I liked the Dark Templar play, but the problem was it wasn't incorporated like into like it. You didn't really surprise him with it much, and um, like I would have to go back and look, but I don't know how much it was incorporated into your main army, which is one of the best ways to use Dark Templar because they won't even notice that there is a Dark Templar there until it's like a little too late because they're like, wait, why am I taking so much damage? And then they'll like realize, oh shoot, there's a Dark Templar, and then they'll take care of it, unless he has an Overseer already ready. But especially against like Terran and stuff like that, who don't usually have floating, who don't usually like it's like against Protoss and against Zerg. A lot of times they'll just have an Overseer or a observer just with their main army in case. But with Terran, they don't have that. They have the scan ready to go, but very rarely will they have a Raven like following their army. So against Terran or against a Zerg that doesn't have any overseers or anything, try to incorporate those Dark Templars into your main army, and then watch how much damage they'll do. Because a lot of times, unless unless they hear the swishes right away or something, you'll get a lot of kills with them.
Yep, yep. And Crucifix is very keen on those swishes, as
Yeah,
he has been on the receiving end of DTs many times.
man. I'm now like whenever like sometimes I'll accidentally scan just because zealots because like the swish is kind of similar, and I'm like do not want to have Dark Templars killing me.
And it's like,
But
whoops, wasted my
yeah.
comp set.
Yeah, it's better to be safe than sorry, I guess.
And also one thing, when facing Protoss, sometimes they'll have hallucinated units, so a comp set on the army is very good
Hmm.
for that as well, and it also helps you kill those pesky observers.
Right. So, yeah, it's because like sometimes they'll come in with two hallucinated colossi, and they won't even have any real ones. Like they'll just put them there so that you'll it'll force you to make anti-air, or it'll force you to retreat when you could have won easily. So it's a pretty good idea, and that's actually something you might want to start doing. I saw that you really like sentries. You could if you're find yourself a little behind, go ahead and hallucinate a couple colossi and then move in, and if they and just a little bit, just poke a little bit and see if like you get their army to retreat, and then maybe you can like force a really bad decision on their part.
Yep, yep. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and go back to lobby, and we'll fire up the next replay.
Sounds good.
So it is looking like another game on Neoplanet S, one of my favorite maps.
Another PVZ. Happens to me all the time. Like I'll end a game and my caps lock is on for no reason. It's probably from trying to hit A so many times.
So this game, I think he's trying to go for that Forge Fast expand.
It is looking like that. I know that, like, especially in the lower leagues, it's a lot easier to defend one base, and that might be the reason you decided to do it in your base in the first place. Because I remember back when I was in silver, like, just two bases just seemed like, number one, it's so hard to spend all your minerals as it is. Like when I was in silver, I was having trouble spending one base. I was having trouble spending my minerals on one base. So when I would one barracks fast expand, I would have a lot of trouble spending my minerals on two bases. So like I understand why why you'd want to go one base. But if you are going to go one base, and that's not a bad idea to try to do some one base play until you're really good at spending your minerals on one base and then going to two. But if you are going to try to do one base play, don't do like the forge cannon zealot wall thing. Just do like look up a build order for like a one base play, like not necessarily a 4-gate, but like a 3-gate, a fast double upgrade into expansion, something like that. Like something where you can practice really spending your minerals hardcore on one base until you get really good at it.
So right here, there's multiple parts where there's no probes being produced, even though there's two Nexi um,
Mm.
here. So
Also the
that's a big
mana,
issue.
yeah. Also the mana on your nexuses or nexi or whatever is very high. So make sure you're chrono boosting. Like even if you don't have probes to chrono boost your upgrades or your gateways. Or don't let the mana get high for no reason.
Yeah. So right here again, we see that probe production has been cut, and we also see that there's oversaturation in the main base.
Mm.
So you really want to have 16 probes per mineral line.
Yeah, I see that you have rallied your main to your natural to saturate that now. Um, and like some people like to have more than 16, but rarely do you have more than 18 per base. 20 is kind of, you're not getting nearly as much out of each probe as you would if you had just rallied earlier, like at 16, 17, or 18, depending on just what you want to do. 16 is the most efficient though to have on each base. But if you have 16 on both and you don't have an expansion yet, of course, just unrally them and just produce to each one. But if you do have 16 on both and you haven't been hit yet by the enemy and you feel like your macro's going okay, wow, 4,000 minerals. Yeah, this is kind of what I was afraid of when I saw the Forge Fast expand, was that it was going to be even harder to spend all your minerals. But again, when you find yourself in this kind of situation, you only have 6 gateways right now. Build another one, build another forge. Just spend them however you can. Warp in every single chance you get.
Yep, yep. And one mental note that they can make to yourself is if I see purple on my Nexus, then that's bad. So
Mm-hmm.
so you pretty much just always want to be chrono boosting anything, whether it's upgrades or more probes or
Mm-hmm.
um or robo facilities. They're very important to chrono boost,
Yeah.
as you want to get those units as early as possible, and
Yeah.
they actually take a very long time to build compared to gateway units, so they're very important.
Right. And I think one thing that can help you with that is, so he does go swarm hosts. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, see, he has a ton of swarm hosts, and like even though his army isn't very big, he only had this many roaches. He was able to move in with his roaches, with all of the swarm hosts, locusts, I guess they're called. And he was able to kill like your majority of your army because he moved in with all of them. So if you see swarm hosts, like and he comes in, back off so that he can't use that as a barrier like that.
Now, Crucifix, what is a good counter that Protoss has versus Swarm Hosts?
Hmm. Well, the Colossi with the extended thermal lance are actually pretty good versus swarm hosts because they're able to not outrange the locust, but like it's like it's far enough away where you can kill, like if you wait for one of the waves to end, you can usually kill a lot of locusts before they get to your colossi. So say you see some locusts coming, wait for them to expire, and then move in with those colossi. So because by the time the locusts get to you again, the colossi will already have killed a lot of those swarm hosts because that extended thermal lance is so far, and you can defend your colossi with your zealots and your stalkers. Um, but yeah, one thing I wanted to mention was that your hotkeys, you were using some. I saw that you had your Nexi on 3, and you had like your Forge, I think was on like 6, and then your army was on 1 or something. And like one thing that really helps me is put your production all on one key. I'm not sure if you had your gateways hotkeyed. I didn't see it, but I could have been wrong. But so like what I like to do is so since you use your 3 for your Nexi, do like 3 for your Nexus, 4 for all of your production, and then like you can do 5 for your forges or just whatever you want. But what you can do is you can like I like to call it a macro like pattern. So you do like you do like just the whole game. The whole game you're going 3 chrono boost probes, 4 warp and more units, 5 check on my upgrades, blah blah blah. Like you want to be in this pattern where you're always just doing it like you're doing like a circle with your hotkeys, like army production nexus. Army production nexus. Check on my army, it's fine. Look at my production. Oh, I can warp in some units. Go do that. Look at my nexi. I have some chrono boost ready. Let's chrono boost something. Oh, I'm not building probes right now. Let's build some probes. And then you just get in this circle where you're doing all 3 of those again and again, and so you're never not doing anything. And if you wanna send your army in, it's real easy to send your army in. Go back in macro, and then every time you want to check on it, you can just double click the 3, make sure everything's going okay, come back in macro some more. So just that macro circle is a really good idea.
Yeah, it's kind of like doing chores in your own house. I mean, if the laundry's dirty, you wash it. If your dishes are dirty, then
Mhm.
you just leave it there and then
Yeah,
use paper plates. I mean,
yeah,
just gotta
exactly.
improvise.
But yeah, like you just don't want to be in a case where you're not really doing, like sometimes I remember like I would just be in like like I wouldn't be doing anything because I just wasn't quite sure what to do. But when you have that pattern going, like you're always doing something, which is a really good idea.
Yep, yep. All right, next replay time.
Okay. And like consistently, like in all these games, like you've always taken your third. Like it doesn't matter right now because I think there's more important things for you to work on. Like again, like as I said before, you should maybe try to work on spending all your minerals on one base and then move to two. But then like once you move to two, get a third a little faster because you're gonna find yourself running out of minerals at your main and you're not gonna have a third base.
Yep, yep. Usually you want to get your third base at around 8 minutes, but
Mm-hmm.
but at
Yeah,
this
it's game to
point,
game.
yeah. But at the Silver League, you pretty much just want to get it
Yeah.
when you can.
Yeah, you don't even really need a third unless you're proficiently spending your minerals on two or you've run out of minerals some like in your main. You don't need it at this level. Once you get higher, it's going to be a lot more important. But like I just don't want you like stressing about getting a third at 8 minutes and then like not making probes or not like making like or like not attacking or something. And just make sure that like just like the order of importance of things is like probe production might even be like number one, and then like number two is army production, and then like number three is like not getting supply blocked. And so like those three things like probe production, army production, not getting supply blocked, and then building
Game
building
paused.
buildings, I would say is number four. And so like if you could do those things,
Game
uh,
restarted.
well, then you would find yourself in such a good
Game
position.
paused.
So right here, I noticed that I think you either forgot to toss down a cannon or you were being kind of greedy, and so you're a little bit vulnerable here to an early attack. But I do notice that you tossed down these buildings just in time to prevent the Zergling attack, so that's pretty good.
This is a full wall off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah. Oh, it looks like actually there is a slot in the left-hand corner there, where the zealot is.
Oh, I can't tell if there's a slot or not. Yeah, yeah, there is.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, there's only two Zerglings. I probably wouldn't have done that much. But so yeah, you did go for the Forge Fast Expand again, which is a good build. I don't think it usually has two gateways. I'm not sure how this actually usually goes. I don't think it's quite like this, but I'm sure you just improvised. It was looking like he's going to do some sort of bailing bust. Um, what? So you do have. I do like the fact that you have a lot of gateways. But let's see. Yeah. See, if I look at each one, they're all able to warp in right now. Most of them, right? Yeah. Like they're all able to warp in right now, but like you aren't warping in units, and that's like the like look at all these gateways that aren't doing anything. Like that's the main reason that you find yourself behind, and more swarm host play, and like this, this it's going to be really hard. Oh, see, there's like yeah. So don't move out into swarm into those like that because like you lost like a lot of units there. Oh, okay, yeah. And then it looks like a little bit of move command happened there. But with those locusts are hard to deal with, like I agree. Like a lot of times I find myself like, oh, how am I gonna deal with these with these swarm hosts? But you have to just you have to make sure to let your Colossus kill as many of them as possible without them hitting your main units, and then push into the Zerg. If he has, he was right at your wall, so if he has a ton of Zerglings like that, that's, kind of the same thing. Just hold your wall as best you can. Keep your Colossi behind there so that the Locusts don't come and hit. The Locusts don't just, kill all your buildings and whatnot. So yeah, in this case, like in this situation particularly, it would have been really good to have like two Colossi behind your wall, just killing the locusts, because I'm pretty sure that probably would have done sufficient damage to keep them from killing your wall too much, and like kind of force him to hit your wall while you build up your units if you don't have enough already. But like I said, like the main thing there was that you had so many gateways that could have warped in, but weren't, and so by the time the Zerg hit the front of your base, you just didn't have enough units to do the job.
Yeah. So basically, build more gateways at a earlier timing, and then always be constantly producing units out of the warp gates. I mean, like right now you have
Hmm.
almost 5,000 minerals, and
Hmm.
that could have been 45
So many,
zealots.
yeah, like so many things, and yeah. Well, yeah. So I see. So one of the main things I'm seeing, like you spend your gas well. Like you have 194 gas, so you're most of the time I would say you're gas deprived, but you're heavy mineral, and you think, oh, I don't have enough gas to build another colossi out of my double robotics facilities. But if you have extra mineral and you don't have enough gas, every time you don't have enough gas, make sure you have three. Make sure you have three on each refinery or simulator. And once you're sure you have three on each assimilator, because a lot of times I'll go back and check, and just somehow, like I must have selected them to build something, I'll find that I don't have three on each, and because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 guys on gas is actually a good bit of gas. So if you find you don't have enough, make sure you have three on each, and then if you still have extra minerals, and you have warp gates open, make zealots. Just make zealots. Like it's better to have some. It's better to have a unit coming out than no unit coming out. Once the warp gate is ready to go again, you'll have enough gas to make some stalkers or some colossi or whatever. But like, don't just sit there with a ton of minerals. Make zealots even if you don't necessarily think you need them, because some units are better than no.
Yep, and also, if you want to buy some time, I mean, the mothership core has a time warp ability, and that actually drastically slows down the locusts to buy you some extra time also. And also, yeah, you could also build warp prisms from your robo facility, and then
Right.
just like create a force or a pylon field somewhere, and then just warp in a bunch of zealots to try to do some harassment. I mean, you're pretty much trying to buy some time to get those
Mm-hmm.
awesome um, High Templars or Colossi or those awesome
Right.
tier 3 units that Protoss love to use.
Like one of the most helpful things I've heard is like what's the best way to get somebody from from applying pressure to your base? Because you're behind this wall here and you're like, fuck, excuse my language. You're like, shoot, I'm I'm behind this wall. I feel like it's just like eventually his locusts are just gonna tear down my wall, and like there's nothing I can do about it, and they don't even the units aren't even costing him anything. Like, what can I do? And like one thing you could do is like I said, like buy some time at the front with the colossi or whatever, keeping the locust off your wall, and then have a Dark Templar shrine, have a Dark Shrine up, get a Warp Prism out, go drop like 4 Dark Templars in his main base, and I think you'll see a lot of these Zerglings pull back to deal with that, and then you can push out and kill these Swarm Hosts. Because the Swarm Hosts aren't going to move, only his main army is. So I think that like if you're dealing with this situation or just like a similar one where he's applying a lot of pressure at your front base, the best way it's always the case where the best way to get pressure off your base is to put pressure on his base because he has to pull units even if it's not all of them, and that'll just make you can get harassment done and you can get pressure off yourself. So if you're able to apply pressure to him.
Yep, the best defense is a good offense, and you really want to be
Mm-hmm.
harassing his
Right.
economy over and
Yeah.
over again.
Right. And yeah, I think you'll find that even if you aren't able to kill that many units, um, you'll get them off your back for long enough to build up an army, get a position in front of this wall instead of in back of it, which if you have a big enough army is actually a much stronger position because you're going to actually be able to shoot on some of his units instead of letting him just contain you while he takes 5 bases. So that's what I would recommend if you find yourself in a position where you're like, oh no, like I'm stuck here. Go apply pressure to him.
Yep, yep. All right, so that wraps up this coaching session.
Great.
But we do have time for a 10 points finale. So,
Okay.
Crucifix,
No, you
number
you
one.
go first. You go first. I went first last time.
All right. All right. So basically, we're listing 10 things that you can do immediately, or the next time that
Yeah.
you play StarCraft to really improve your gameplay. All right.
Awesome.
So number one, always have goals. I mean, whether that's getting to gold, getting to masters by the end of the season, whether that's constantly producing probes throughout the entire game without missing a single one. I mean, you really
Mhm.
need to set goals if you want to improve. You can't
Right.
just be playing just to play.
Right. And do that per
Goals.
game. Say this game, my goal is probe production. No matter what happens in the game, I'm gonna produce probes as well as I can, and that should be like your goal for that game. And then number two, and then also overarching goals, of course. Number two, spend your minerals. Like I said, I really think it would help you a lot if you looked up some one base silvers, not necessarily cheeses, just something that'll keep you on one base for a lot longer. That's better than the forge situation that you had going that first game. That's really only a 2 base build. You don't want to do that on one base because it just doesn't. It doesn't like you can spend your minerals better. So what I would do is I'd get online, look up some one-base strategies, go to gosubuilds.com, look up some all-ins is what they would be called. But for silver, it's not really an all-in. It's more of just because it's only an all-in if you're like masters, and if it doesn't work, like they're gonna just be so good at macro that there's no way you can come back. Like in Silver League, it's not necessarily gonna be an all-in because even if you make a mistake, you don't do too much damage with it. like they're going to make a lot of mistakes too, and you could probably come back from it. So yeah, just go to Ghosted Gamers or wherever, find a good one base build, uh, practice it until you're really able to spend all of your minerals on one base, and after you're good with all the minerals, move on to some two base builds.
All right, number three. This is a toughie. Always use your Chrono Boost. Chrono Boost is so
Mm-hmm.
important because I mean it's 50%, faster, and your economy could just get up way quicker with constant
Right.
Chrono boosting. Your
Mm-hmm.
warp gate research could be well. I think that you're because like almost every beginner will have people tell them, oh, you have to kind of boost your warp gates because like you really need those warp gates up and early. So that's pretty much all they do, and then they forget about everything else. But the fact is, Chrono Boost is just so powerful. Especially when it comes to getting out those Colossi. I mean,
Right.
Colossi take a long time to build, but with Chrono Boost, they just come out instantly. Well, not
Yeah,
instantly, but
yeah, it's way
pretty
faster.
darn
Yeah.
fast.
And an interesting note is the Chrono Boost is the only way a Protoss can keep up with pro production, or I guess economy in general with the other two races, because with the Chrono Boost, you're able to make harvesters faster than a Terran is able to do. But the Terran has mules, and then the Zerg is able to make them several at a time. So the only way to for a pro so the way the Protoss stays even with mules and being able to make more than one at a time for the Zerg is Chrono Boost. They're able to Chrono Boost out their probes, making it so that they can make them faster. And
But yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're not Chrono Boosting out your probes at the beginning of the game, you're just setting yourself up for to be in an economic disadvantage.
Yep. But I actually do think that Chrono Boost is the hardest macro, I guess, race specific macro boost that's the hardest to pay attention to because like with mules
Yeah.
you're creating units, with larva injects you're creating units, with Chrono Boost it's kind of just there.
Right. Yeah, and it's because you don't actually see, like with a mule you actually see it, and with the larva inject, like you're actually able to produce more, but with the Chrono Boost it speeds things up, so sometimes it's easy to forget about it. But just like if even if you're like really stressed out because of a battle or something, and you have Chrono Boost and you have like a lot of Chrono Boost built up, just like it doesn't even matter, like just like Chrono Boost your Nexuses and then a couple warp gates or something, just like at least you're using it. It's better to just like use it on anything than nothing. So
Yeah, worst case scenario, Chrono Boost a probe to make it work faster.
that would be pretty funny if you can do that.
Not
But
wrong.
yeah, just use it. Um, number four, hmm, be a little bit more aggressive. I find like a lot of times you'll sit in your base and turtle up and then let the enemy do whatever they want, which is something that happens a lot in the lower leagues, which can't like it's you don't really want, especially like a Zerg player, to be able to do whatever he wants, um, because a Zerg that can do whatever they want can just get way too many units way too fast. Like they can go fast three base, get all sorts of gas, like heck tech to hive like ridiculously quickly, and then just like come at you with swarm hosts. And that's kind of what he did. Is he took a fast three bases and came at you with swarm hosts relatively early in the game. And I would say that being more aggressive, even if it's just poking with a couple zealots to see what's up, could really help you a lot.
Yep. Let's see. So we're on number five now.
Yeah.
Okay, number five. It's actually really tough to think right now for
Hmm.
some
How
reason.
about increasing production?
Oh, right. Okay. So I did mention that you tend to have, enough production, but by the time that you've built the gateways and those buildings, you already have 2,000 minerals, and I think that's a little late.
Yeah.
So try to build
Yeah.
those buildings a few minutes ahead of time to prepare yourself, for the extra minerals, and then to,
Right.
just keep on spending those minerals as you get them.
Yeah. Yeah. And then once you get to make sure you use them as much as you can. Um, number number 6. Now, it actually I didn't see you having an issue with this. But I feel like once you take our advice and you start spending your minerals as much as you can, it is going to become an issue because you're not going to be used to how fast your supply grows. It's actually pretty crazy. Once you start spending all your minerals and you're warping in unit after unit from all of your warp gates, you're going to be surprised at how fast you eat up all of your supply. And so, like while you're working on these other tips, if you start getting supply blocked, make sure you put that in your rotation. You like you check you check your nexuses, you check your production, you check your army, and then just glance over at your supply to see if you need to throw down another pylon at any point.
Yep, yep. I'm really out of it tonight. Number what?
Yeah, I think 7.
Number 7. Okay, number 7 will be um,
Ooh,
number
it just
7.
hit me like a train. Got tired all of a sudden. But how about number seven's? Did we already say pro production?
Um, I think so.
Oh, hmm. Make sure you make probes all the time. Um, how about how about unit composition?
Oh, okay. So, so basically, you want units that are good against your opponent,
Hmm.
but honestly, the more important part is to just, get those units out there, since you're ending the game with thousands and thousands of minerals that could have been units. But
Yeah.
um, but once you're comfortable with spending all of your minerals, then it's a good time to worry about unit composition.
Hmm.
But for the time being, I mean, like, yeah, like you don't want to mass stalkers versus marauders, but then again, if you have more stalkers than they have marauders, well, then you're probably gonna win. So yeah,
Right.
so focus on unit composition only after you've mastered spending all of your minerals.
And I think and I really think one of the main reasons you're having trouble spending your minerals is because you're trying to focus on getting those gas heavy units like stalkers and colossi, and I think that's one of the main reasons is because you're like, ugh, I need to wait for this gas. But like really, like just make zealots, make stuff that only costs minerals if you don't have the gas for it, because you'll find that you'll have a much bigger army that way. Research
Yeah.
that charge upgrade too. Like if you're oh shoot, I have to make all these zealots to spend my minerals. Well, I might as well research the charge upgrade to make your zealots way better. You know,
Yeah, zealots without charge are kind of
they're not yeah they're
kind
not
of
too good.
terrible actually.
Yeah, but again, like at least you have something there to be a meat shield while you push out onto their army. Like it's better to have zealots that aren't gonna kill too much that like absorb the locust fire while your stalkers and your colossi, the big heavy damage dealing units get out there and actually kill some stuff. Like without any zealots at all, and you just have that other army composition, then you're not gonna have as much stuff.
Yep, yep.
It's never as good. And
Number
then
8.
number 8, um, um, make sure you have 3 guys on all your gases at all times. If you're gonna make an early if you're gonna make an early assimilator, make sure you get the gas guys on there. If you're, whenever you, whenever you find yourself low on gas, make sure you have 3 on each one, because if you don't, then you're gonna find yourself in a situation where you don't have much gas at all. And I'm actually still in the replay, but I can't see how many guys you have on each one. But I would not be surprised if, like, for the majority of the game, there weren't guys on all your gases. Like all the guys that there could be on all the gases.
Yep. And And also, at the diamond and master level, they say that, oh, well, if the Protoss has expanded and he doesn't get all of his gases, then he's like gonna tech up into gas heavy. Or no, sorry. If the Protoss doesn't get all of his gases, then he's gonna rush gateway units. But if he is getting gases, then he's taking up, stuff like that. Don't pay attention to any of that. Pretty much as soon as you get your second nexus, make sure to get six probes on those gases right away, since
Hmm.
at the silver level you really need all the
Yeah.
gas that you can get.
Hmm. Yeah, because like I feel like that's really what your limiting factor was not enough gas. So if you need to get those gases early to make sure that you have enough, like do whatever you need to do to make sure you have enough gas so that you can spend your minerals, so you don't have to resort to buying Zelts if you don't want to, But if you need to, number let's see, number 9, I think, and it's yours.
Yeah.
Because, well, actually, what you just said can count as number 9. And then number 10, last but not least, um, number 10, it's hard to think. Make a, pay attention to your upgrades because I didn't notice the upgrades too much. You may have been doing a good job, but if you weren't, um, upgrades, like especially at the low levels, can make such a huge difference. Like I remember when I was in silver, like when once I started figuring out like to make sure I made upgrades, do to make sure I did upgrades every single game, like I started winning like way more because a lot of times, people will forget upgrades at silver level and they'll just completely forget them, and then you'll be in a position where you have three units against 0-0, and like you don't even like that is so crazy how much those matter. And to like if you're playing an opponent that doesn't do upgrades at all and you are, like you could have an army that's like a third as big as your opponents, and if you have 3-3 and they have 0-0, you'll win. And like you'll like it is really important. So get upgrades. Get upgrades as the game goes on. That could even be like a build that you decide to try out, like a fast double upgrade build. A lot of times in Silver League, you can get away with stuff like that, and it can put you way ahead. So that's what I would recommend.
Yep, yep. Upgrades are
Hmm.
very crucial.
And
All right.
that is 10. So
And number 11 for the bonus
for the bonus
one.
XP,
Yep.
if if you enjoyed our coaching session, even though it took us some time to think of your 10 points, go ahead and hit us up with a review on nerdupgrades.com. It would really help us out, and hopefully we can coach you again sometime.
Yep, yep. And actually, he did sign up for another lesson tomorrow night.
Oh, nice! You just took it on faith, so there you go.
Oh, and we do apologize for actually not airing this at midnight, as we ran into
Mhm.
some technical difficulties.
Indeed, we will be right on time for tomorrow.
Yep, yep. All right. Well, once again, my name is Sharp Eyes,
And I am Crucifix.
and that is.
WeCast. Oh, that is Chris Chi. He's Chris Chi. He's not WeCast. We're WeCast.
Yeah. So pretty much we're just a group of casters slash coaches slash gamers slash um
Cool guys.
no big.
No big deal. Just trying to have some fun, cast some games, teach some people, and maybe help out the community.
Yep, yep. Because I mean, like it's really important that you always be moving up.
Mm-hmm.
No one likes to be forever bronze or like
Yeah,
forever wood.
exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm. If you want to, you don't do the ladder. You don't do the ladder to not try to get better. And it's really frustrating when you're stuck somewhere. You feel like you can't make progress. So, that's what we're here to do is help anybody who needs it. Get to that next level.
Yep. And if you're a random person listening to this, our website is www dot.
Now, WeCastSC2.com.
Yep. All right. Yeah. So Adios.
Adios. See you guys later. Peace.